everybody, hope you're well. Sorry I'm a bit late starting, just got a bit carried away with some tidying up that I'm doing, so I'm just going to fill about and just get a couple of things ready and we'll be good to go. I hope the levels are good as well, if you could just let me know just for sure. So hey there, Era42. Hey Phil. Hey Rob, how you doing? Oh no, that's a shame, Rob. Yeah, read errors on some of the discs. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. It's the problem when this stuff's stored in the loft. I think it sometimes affects the disc, sadly. But still a good pickup though, and potentially you could get the replacement discs from sort of various places on the internet, and just at least you got the real thing, I suppose. But yeah, it's a pain that the original disc didn't read, so glad the sound's all good. So bit of an earlier start today, but I didn't want to finish too late, and it seems like it's a day of Amiga streamers today. I think I saw that Hitch is streaming, Amiga Bill's streaming later, I think the Amigos are streaming later as well, so yeah, so bit of an early one today, so yeah, which has slightly caught me out because I've been doing lots of jobs around the flat this afternoon, and having a good old tidy up, and also a bit of DIY, so I've been up since about 8 o'clock though, so it feels like I've made the most of the day. So yeah, so I thought we'd do a bit of Evangelion styled pixel art today, because I've been working on the drawing of Shinji Ikari for well, at least a few weeks now, so I thought it was about time that I got that one finished. Yeah, so that's what I thought we would focus on today. We're still going to be using my Amiga 1200 because it's been all set up now for a couple of weeks, and I thought there's no point unplugging it all, and also before I've put all my games and stuff that I've been tidying up in the loft, I wanted to make sure that I'd installed Monkey Island 2 and Populous 2 on the hard drive, because well, you know, why not, because I'll probably want to play them sooner or later. So yeah, so thanks for joining me at this time of day. So I'm just trying to make sure that I've got all the stream coming up on the phone. So yeah, just make sure that if you've got any questions about anything I'm doing, just throw those down into the chat. I'm happy to answer them, about whether it's something I'm doing on the screen, or whether it's about pixel art in general, do lots of paint in general, about the Amiga, whatever it might be, retro gaming. Just here for all the chat really. So yeah, so I guess we'll just crack on. Yeah, I love Monkey Island 2, Phil. It's awesome, isn't it? It's one of my favourites as well. Let me just flip this on to... There we go. Here we are. Just make sure I can see all the live chat, so... I think... they've changed something about the YouTube app, so it means that it's been a bit of a nuisance for me to see the live chat. So there we go, I think we've got it now. Either that or my phone's playing up. But yeah, Monkey Island 2 is brilliant, so I wanted to make sure I got that all installed before I put the box up in the loft. It'll be all properly stored, so hopefully it won't be creating the read errors like the copy that you've picked up, unfortunately, Rob. But you may find that on a different drive they read a bit better. I sometimes get that with my 1200 drive, actually. I do need to take it apart and clean it, actually, but yeah, I've just not quite got around to it yet. So let's just clean up this desktop. I just need to do a little bit of housekeeping, as they say, because Populous 2 installed itself in a really strange position because it has one of those really old installation routines. So it just basically dumped everything in my games folder rather than creating a folder for it. So that was a bit annoying. It's hot action, isn't it? Watching me sort out my hard disk folders. Well, at least I think it dumped it all in now, maybe. So where did it put it? Oh well, not to worry. It did say that it was installing it all into the root folder here, but that's the folder I've just created, so oh well. Heaven knows where it's actually put that. It's probably put it in the root. Oh yeah, it has, look. Oh well. That's another thing that I can hold Peter Molyneux responsible for. Pretty certain pretty much all of that is, and then that's really cool. Right, that should all sort that out. That's good. Let's quit that. Yep. So yeah, so I thought we could do some work on the Ikari picture that I've been working on. So let's just bring that up. So if you remember, that was an image that is going to go alongside this particular backdrop. This is obviously not the final version because I've just quickly composited this when I was doing a video a couple of weeks ago all about stencils and deluxe paint. So, but that's basically what we're going to be bringing together. And this is the file we'll work on today. So, hey there, Mauro. Hope you're well. It is hard to play Monkey Island 2 with... oh, have I opened it in the wrong version? I have. There we go. Yeah, the Loft is the undefeated enemy of old hardware and photographs, as Error42 says. Hey, Just 80, hope you're well. Yeah, it really truly is. It's a killer of many a game or piece of hardware. I think it's just all of the rapid changes in temperature that happen over the course of a year. So yes, it's definitely not advisable to leave your games and hardware in the Loft, you know, without properly storing them. So I've just been wrapping everything up and putting it into nice big plastic boxes. So that way it's not going to get too badly damaged. So yeah, so this is what I've been working on over the past couple of weeks. It's based on this sketch here, which you probably won't be able to see very well on the webcam picture that you see, but essentially that was my rough sketch. I've shown this before, but now I'm just basically drawing Shinji Ikari sort of as pixel art. So I've already started that process, and if I just very quickly show you some of the working drawings just to get to this stage. Just open those up. I'm just using Dopus because it's quite a good little application for looking at multiple graphics in a little slideshow. Here we go. Okay, did that do it? No. Is it not doing it? Oh, I clicked the wrong button, that's why. I'm really good, thank you, Mauro. Yeah, really good. So, oh, what file have I selected there? Oh, I am an Anna brain. Yeah, I've been just doing lots of jobs around the flat or the apartment, as you may also know that by. So lots of DIY painting and stuff. So, and trips to DIY stores and stuff like that this weekend. So I'm all good for a chill out now. So yeah. So yeah, so this is just a basic start. I drew this actually originally over the top of the background so I could get a sense of scale. And this is just the rough workings of the size of Shinji Ikari's main face. And then I started drawing in the eyes and the ears. And you'll see that just like when I sort of actually draw for real, I do just put down guidelines which I can easily erase with a stencil. So it's all very rough workings, and then just gradually sketching the rest of the details. A little bit more there. And then I drew in the shoulders, which is where we're up to now. So the red pen is basically my sketch in this case. So yeah, so we'll be erasing all of that. And along the top here, you'll see that there's like a measuring scale, and basically that's just me working out the width of the shoulders relative to Shinji's head, so basically the shoulders are about half a head's width to 3/4 of a head's width wide, as wide as the head. Yeah, something like that. It's done by eye, to be honest with you, but yeah, the shoulders need to be a little bit broader. So yeah. So that's what that little scale on the top is, and you can see that the middle point works its way out. So yeah, so that's the rough sketch. So we're going to finish that off, and then we're going to obviously shade it, and yeah, just basically hopefully complete it in this stream. So as I say, if you do have any questions, do throw them down into the chat. More than happy to answer. So where should I start now? I think I can probably start by actually converting some of these red markings actually into black pen, because I'm quite happy with them. They may still need a little bit of adjustment, but they're okay. So we'll just do a quick stencil for that. So and what you'll notice is I actually have 2 black pens in this palette. So I have this one here. So it is, and also this one over here. The reason for that is it just allows me to keep the colours of this particular part, you know, of Shinji himself, completely separate from the rest of the palette that I've been building for the rest of the parts of the animation. So yeah. So that's what's going on there. I'm not gonna do anything with the hair just yet. I'm just gonna bring those in. There we go. I'm just going to mix up the colour for Shinji's eyes, which are like a bluish grey. So let's bring this over to the blue spectrum. So a little bit greenish. So there. Bring the value right down. I think Shinji's eyes are somewhere around there generally. One of the things I'm going to do is just click this scale button, because what that will do is it will actually bring that within the range of OCS and ECS Amigas, because they have RGB4 values, so like 0 to 15 or 1 to 16 if you prefer, but 0 to 15 in most parlance. And because what you'll find is that when you draw on an RGB8 you know, sort of colour palette system like any modern day PC or Macintosh or whatever, or indeed an AGA Amiga, obviously your red, green and blue channels go from 0 to 255, which if you multiply that all up, that's what gives you the 16.7 million colours approximately, whereas on the OCS and ECS Amigas they're 4096 colour palette, because if you multiply up the 16 possible colour values, if you will, or 0 to 15 colour values per red, green and blue channel, you'll end up with a gap, like the colours jump more, you don't get as subtle a shading with the older Amigas. So it's quite important that you, if you want this image to look good on an older Amiga, that you scale the values so that they will look good as RGB4 values. So so that's what that does. So it's one of the slightly underappreciated effects of drawing on an AGA Amiga if you're looking to, you know, sort of, because obviously everybody thinks about, oh, it can draw 256 colours, or it can do ham 8 and all this kind of stuff, but actually one of its biggest benefits is actually the much more subtle colour shading. So yeah, so it's just something to be mindful of. So let's just take that. What we'll do is we're just going to pop that bluish grey into here. Oop, turn the stencil off. Let's just zoom out a little. So remember, you've got your N key. So the N key, that's one next to M, but N for November. That allows you to move the centre point of your magnified view to that point which your mouse is over. It also works on the zoomed out view as well, so it's a much quicker way than using the cursor keys. Do you mean the coordinates in the top right, Phil? If you do, yes, that's pretty much where they are in all versions. You can turn it off with the pipe character or the vertical bar, which is next to the backspace key. So, although it says 0.1 there, so I don't know what that means. That's strange. Maybe it's because maybe I'm finding bugs in deepin. Oh, there's something weird going on there, isn't there? Yeah, it's not erasing that part of the menu bar until you right click. Oh well, little quirk of depaint found there. So, yeah, I'm using my Amiga 1200 today now. Let me just show you, go wonky cam time. So, there it is. So, yeah, definitely using the Amiga 1200 today. So, with the little optical mouse there. So yeah, we're using the Amiga 1200 today. It's just, it's been set up. It is my, just bear with me a moment, just go wonky cam again. Let me just bring this big screen actually. Where did I put my Mac mouse? Oh, my Mac mouse is down here. There we go. So there's the Amiga 1200 there. Over here, I'll move my hand out the way and try and turn this around without knocking everything over. That's the sketch that I drew that I'm working on today as a piece of pixel art. Yeah, so there it is. There's a 1200, and over there you'll see the Mega Drive and which I was playing on last night, which I will probably have another bit of fun on today, and also the Amiga 600 there looking a little bit forlorn, but at the end of today I will actually be packing the Amiga 1200 away because this desk's looking a bit crowded. I have quite a small desk on purpose so that I don't hoard stuff, but in the drawer is my little SNES Mini PlayStation. So it's all nice little deep compact package. So, but yeah, so Amiga 1200 today, and then later on this week I'll be moving the 600 back into its rightful position. So, so yeah, so that's what we're doing today. Let's just put that back over there. There we go. Ciao, Miracle! How are you well? Come stai? Oh yeah, glad that helped Phil. Yes, it is there. It's even in Do Not Paint version 1, so yeah, it's very helpful. The only thing is that you might want to, I think this is a Do Not Paint 3 onwards thing, but just make sure you got original, actually I've not got it switched on here. I should really do that, but maybe it's because I've loaded this directly from a file which didn't have the tool tab set. But one of the weird things about, I think, Do Not Paint 3 version onwards is that it actually takes the origin, I think, from the bottom left, which is down here where my mouse is, which is really odd. So yeah, you can see that with it turned off, the origin UL, it's taking 0, 0 to be down here. So really what you want to do, I think in most cases, is set the origin UL up here. That becomes more important when you're doing things like tile maps and stuff that's for specific sizes, so like sprites, or you know, whether they're actually real sprites or whether they're you know, glitter objects or whatever. But yeah, that's quite an important point actually. I think generally speaking, I can double check this. Check the tool types. I don't know how. I'm just going to add origin UL there because I don't like it in the bottom left. It doesn't make much sense for it to be down there, in my opinion. Right. Hey there, Colin 316. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Mara, it's good to be curious. So yeah, that's what I'm using. Yeah, I'm not usually use the A600 just because it's small and it does everything that I need to do for my pixel art, really. I do make some use of the AGA facilities, but I quite like the restrictions of a limited colour palette, and you know, it's good to stretch yourself and make the most of those limitations, shall we say. So I'm just actually going to get rid of my actually I'm going to leave those where they are, but I'm going to get rid of these bits here because I want to work on these eyes here. So make sure I don't erase my workings for the hairline. So I read something interesting from I'm trying to remember his name. I've got it back there, but there's oh dear, bear with me a moment. Yeah, Yoshiyuki Sadamoto. He's the manga artist who did the manga version of Evangelion. But it said, oh, actually, just for completeness sake, he said something really interesting about his design for Shinji Ikari. Let's see if there's a quite a good. So yeah, awesome stuff. So there's obviously Shinji Ikari, but interestingly, he said that essentially the design for Shinji Ikari is virtually Nadia from The Secret of Blue Water. So yeah, and actually, essentially they are the same. I think the only difference is the shorter hair and well, obviously different colour hair and stuff, and slightly different eye colour, but yeah, it's actually interesting, that one, because Shinji there actually has brown eyes. Now in most pictures that I see of Shinji, he actually has these slate grey eyes, so oh well, doesn't matter. So but yeah, anyway, so just shame. Obviously I've got some love for manga and anime, because otherwise I wouldn't be drawing this stuff, would I? But yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? I don't know if you actually can see that on the webcam, so yeah. Right, let's just flip this back to full screen. There we go, because otherwise I'll get carried away and forget that you've got a big picture of me rather than actually of what we're actually here to do today. So, which is so far just to waffle about anime and manga. Right. But that's what these are for, really. It's just a bit of a chill out, really. I don't do any of this stuff too frenetically. It's spent a lifetime of rushing around, so it's good to down tools. So yeah, hey there DB, hope you're well. Yeah, it's been fairly calm and relaxing. I've been doing a lot of DIY around the flat, so yeah, I've been filling in gaps around window frames and you know, paintwork and all that kind of stuff, and sorting out stuff, and yeah, it's been quite busy, but it's been quite nice. When I had my hair done yesterday morning, so that was lovely. So yeah, so hey there, Retro Man Cave. Hey there, Neil. Feel weird calling you Retro Man Cave. So yeah, so oh, you're put next to me at Swag. Awesome. I'm glad to see that you'll be in there. I booked 2 tables for me and Tim, so Sound Tune will be there, so that's gonna be awesome. So yeah, really looking forward to the May event. So it's on the 18th of May in Chipping Sodbury near Swindon or Bristol in the UK. So Hey Chris Toast. Really nice of you to pop along. Yeah, good to catch you at last. So yeah, so we're just having a bit of a chill. So I had quite a sober day yesterday. I don't usually drink on a Sunday because it's a school night technically, but I had a sober day yesterday. So I fancied a little beer after all my DIY work today whilst I did a bit of drawing. So I'm going to work on the eyes to start with. Project X June. Awesome, and I think this grey here is actually pretty good straight out the gates. So we'll just start with this and see where that gets us. Alistair Brimble, what a tune. Oh, thanks Stevie, that's so kind. Yeah, I hope you've had a good weekend as well, DB. Yeah, it's I did show it earlier on, but basically I'm working from this sketch that I did. So yeah, it's always going to look a little bit different from the original, but you know, well, there wasn't an original of this. This was just from my mind, really. So, but when you consider Sadamoto's original drawings and so forth, original art, it's going to look a little bit different to that. But then you've got to put yourself into this a little bit, and I mean, there's no point in creating an exact replica because why not just look at the original? So I'm just going to get myself a light grey, which I'm actually just going to exchange this value here. There we go. Because I'm just basically anti-aliasing these details here, so I've just got to be aware on this particular part of keeping this part of Shinji's eye quite, it comes down at quite an angle, so... Oh, Praxis, you're going to be in the repair corner, awesome, so... Yeah, looking forward to seeing you there again, actually, so, yeah. You'll have a busy day ahead of you again, I'm sure, so... I'm trying not to use the colours that I've used from other parts of the palette, because the first 16 colours I used for the background, which I don't have open here at the minute, but yeah, we'll see how we get on. So when I'm doing anti-aliasing, I'll usually work in the this zoomed in view with the magnifying glass. I'll be doing some depaint sort of tutorials of sorts at the swag meet, so I don't know whether they're just going to be a casual come on over and watch kind of thing, or whether I will pluck up the courage to do something more formally, but it all depends, because obviously Stephen Jones will be he's sponsoring the swag event in May, and obviously he'll be presenting his brand new Amiga and PC case, which he's been working on for the past year, so he may have a lot to say about that, so it might be more of a casual thing, because obviously the main thing is that, and of course obviously I'm going to want to listen to it as well, is hearing about how it's all gone for him with that project, so it might just be a more of a casual sort of thing, so I'm just humming because I just don't know that, I think this grey that I'm using here is just a bit too dark, so probably needs to be a bit more than that. Let's just go back to grey. That's better. Yep. Let's scale that. There we go. Yeah, so for those of you who just joined the stream, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Really awesome to have you here. Yeah, if you've got any questions, just throw them down in the chat. You know, it can be about what I'm doing, which would probably make the most sense, but if you've got any general questions about Amiga stuff or retro gaming stuff, so do throw them down there. Retro computing obviously is a big thing of mine, because otherwise why would I be sat here doing this now? So yeah, so I'm not just a retro gamer. But yeah, just to explain about the reason why I don't use these first 16 colours is because they've been used to the background, which I'm just going to flip to the spare page with the J key. And I'm just going to load in this very rough composite which I put together. Nope. So this is just very rough, so you'll see gaps in the mountains around here, the blue colour, so just ignore that. But essentially the colours used in this, what will become part of the background, these just use the first 16 colours of the colour palette. So I just want to keep those completely separate, just because it makes it a little bit easier for me to just manage the palettes, really, because as soon as I start using the same black and so forth, I might want to change something about that in the background, and so it's just easier for me at the moment just to keep the character and the background completely separate. So yeah. But if I flip back to this, one of the interesting little things is that the light table doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use the animation facilities. You can actually just press L on the keyboard, which will turn the light table on, and you can see just a rough overlay of your sort of main page versus your spare page, and then actually not vice versa. I think it does though. Am I wrong? I thought it works regardless of whether it was on the spare page or not, but yeah, it's quite a handy little feature if you just want to check that your proportions are working out. So yeah, Deluxe Paint for the win. It's really powerful. Let me just clear that. Don't need that in here. Oops. Okay. So yeah, just anti-aliasing these eyes at the moment. So. But you can see how quickly it begins to sort of come together when you start putting in the details, really. I always like getting the eyes sort of kind of nailed with my characters, because once I've got the eyes sort of working, then I know that the drawing's really coming together, that the scale is right, and that's yeah. DVR's one of my top 3 anime movies. Oh, that's just movies. Okay. Ooh, well, definitely Akira has to be in there. It is definitely a WTF movie. I sort of get it better than what I did when I was when I was quite young when I first watched it, but definitely Akira on there. I mean, I can't imagine there are many anime fans that don't have Akira somewhere in the list. I mean, there might be a few, but I mean, there's a few bits of it which still make me flinch today. You know, it's been pretty gross, but yeah. So that's definitely in there. I really loved Your Name from what's the guy's name? Makoto Shinkai, isn't it? Sorry, I keep looking back because that's where all my DVDs are and stuff. So, so Your Name was fantastic. I really enjoyed the manga of that as well, actually. So it's beautifully drawn. So really enjoyed that. And this is something, if you ask me on a different day of the week or in a week's time, I might change my mind. But I definitely think Akira and Your Name have to be in there. And then I'm probably going to go for... Oh, no, I just thought about Ghost in the Shell. Or do I want a Ghibli film in there? Oh, I don't know. It's so difficult, isn't it? Top 3. Can I have my top 100? My God, that would be a YouTube video and a half, wouldn't it? It would take me about 15 years to complete it, so... what else would I put in there? I mean, I want to put something like Grave of the Fireflies in there because, I mean, it's harrowing, but it's essential viewing. But also things like Pompoko and My Neighbour Totoro. Oh God, so difficult. That is a tough question, DB. Oh, Para42 asks, how often are the swag events and are there many others like it elsewhere? Well, there's a Norwich Amiga group, if you're in the UK. They seem to be quite active. And I believe also Amiga North Thames are quite active, so check them out. I'm not sure when Amiga North Thames are next meeting, but they are quite regular. I think ANT, Amiga North Thames, was one of the few Amiga groups that keep on going even in the Amiga's real fallow years of like 2001 onwards or so. But they're still going, so which is awesome. Yeah, that's looking nice. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, around the rest of the world, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's good to see that Amiga groups are becoming more prevalent again in the UK. I used to belong to Swag way back in the 90s. When we used to meet in Bristol. I didn't go to every single one because Bristol was about 100 miles from where I lived at the time. And I was only about 15 or 16 at the time, so it was not something that I could get to under my own steam. My dad had to take me, so but I did enjoy them. Oh, that might be quite nice. Just put a little grey pixel in there. Just to give it that. When I'm doing this anti-aliasing and when I'm working in a zoomed-in view, I'm always looking at the left-hand side, you know, the full size view, because that's going to be really important. So yeah, Akira is its own thing as a film, isn't it? I actually really do want to get Akira manga. I borrowed them from a friend years ago, and it took me the best part of a year to get through it all. Probably even a bit longer actually thinking about it. But I do actually want to get a nice copy of the Akira manga. But you're right, it is a bit of a different approach. But I think actually that's why the movie worked so well, because rather than try and stay completely faithful to the original source material, they actually made the film in a way its own thing. So, but yeah, the technical marvel of Akira, you know, running at 24 frames per second, you know, with a distinct animation frame between all of them is incredible. It really is. Yeah, flashback music. Yeah, we got some Amiga games tunes. If you didn't catch it last night, guys, you must listen to Ravi Abbott, Retro Ravi's 8-bit mix that he did last night on YouTube. It was phenomenal. I must admit, I was actually doing a bit of work on this Shinji character last night while this, so I wasn't really participating in the chat, but it was excellent. It's an hour and a half of absolute class, so check it out. So yeah. Yeah, your name was awesome, wasn't it, Phil? So, hey there, Doug. Hope you're well. So you're at 8:39 in Tucson. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Oh yeah, it's 20 to 5 here. So yeah. Good question, ODB. I really like that question. Ask me next week and I'll give you a different answer. Pompoco or something like that, which I also love. So. Yeah, some stuff does tend to be more south, doesn't it, than the Midlands? Although, you know, it depends when you refer to the Midlands, whereabouts in the Midlands, because that could mean anything really. That could include places like Stoke-on-Trent and Nantwich and stuff, but also could mean like Coventry, so which isn't a million miles down to Chipping Sodbury if you think about it. And to be honest with you, Chipping Sodbury is a good 3-hour drive for me, really, maybe 2.5 hours if the traffic's good. So. But it's the closest that I can get to, really. So, I mean, Amiga North Thames is there, but by the time you've fought your way around the M25, it's probably no difference, actually. I'm just going to bring this colour in here, just so that I can blend this a bit better here. So, actually, what I will do, I want a slightly darker shade here, so I'm just going to bring that down a little bit and just bring the saturation up. Scale it for OCS. photo is your absolute favourite, but Perfect Blue. Oh, Perfect Blue, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, now there's another great film. Yeah, oh, see, this is a problem. You reminded me of all sorts of things. I was just about to say, sort of like Grave of the Fireflies, for example, and then I was immediately thinking, oh yes, there's Ghost in the Shell and stuff, and now you remember Perfect Blue. That's brilliant. Absolutely love Perfect Blue. Whisper of the Heart is your favourite Ghibli movie, Phil? I've not seen that. Do tell me more. So yeah, I must look out for that one. So, oh, Mara's in Northampton. Awesome. I've got a good friend of mine in Northampton, so yeah, I get up there a few times a year. So yeah, Phil agrees. Perfect Blue is incredible. It really is. So, Aaron 42 is not far from Leicester. Oh, okay. So. Oh, you've got June on the go. Yeah, actually, I was tidying up just before I started the stream, and I found my copy of June and June 2. So I'm thinking that's going to need a playthrough at some point, but it won't be just yet. I really do need to finish Grandia on the PlayStation, which you might have seen in the drawer there. Second time playing it, but I've been playing it for probably about the best part of a year now, on and off, obviously. Probably put about 80 hours into it so far, because I like to just do everything, even all this, you know, the side missions and everything. So, Shadow of the Beast, what a classic. Yeah, it would be good, wouldn't it, for something to be sort of more sort of in the Midlands for the Amiga. Maybe it's a call to action there. So yeah, maybe that's the hint to get something going. Maybe, who knows? Not that I'm trying to force you into doing anything. Obviously, I just want to see how this looks. It's going to be too bright. Do you think something needs to go in between that black and that there? So, but we'll pause that bit there. That's looking quite good. Happy with that. So, but yeah, there's a couple of things that's reminded me of. Number one, next weekend obviously is Easter. I think it is in most countries. I'm talking about it from a public holiday point of view rather than the other events of Easter. So I'm actually going to be with Tim from The Future is 8-Bit, Sansian, next weekend down in the southwest of England. So we might do a little live stream there, but there won't be a pixel art stream next weekend probably, because I'll be out all day Saturday, and I won't be getting in till probably midnight or later. And on the Sunday, I'm probably just going to have a chill day. I probably will do some pixel art here at home, but I don't plan on doing a stream. But watch this space. But yeah, don't be surprised if there isn't a pixel art stream next weekend, guys. Just thought I'd give you the heads up. Games wise, what I've got coming up, I'm starting a playthrough of Chrono Trigger on the SNES this coming Tuesday evening. So if you like your JRPGs and you like your SNES and you like your Chrono Trigger, or even if you're just curious, which I suggest you should be, when I talk about the music, just briefly, and I probably mentioned a few minutes ago, oh, Shadow of the Beast, I'm not actually listening to the music that you're listening to live, so I'm probably about 5 minutes behind you, maybe longer. It's just that otherwise, if I'm listening to the stream, the music, I hear myself, which is really disorientating. So I mean, it's probably really nauseous for you guys as well, but you know, I've got the choice. So but yeah, so that's probably why I'm commenting on music that you've already heard. So Gremlin graphics have been theme tune just sent. That I might just hear in a moment. Yeah, it may even be the magnetic fields opening strings, if that's what you're referring to. I honestly don't know what's coming up, so I'll let you know if I hear it. Which, yeah, magnetic fields, Sean Southern and Andrew Morris, they were magnetic fields, weren't they? Did the Lotus Esprit and Supercar games, and what else did they do? They did that platformer, didn't they, that I couldn't remember the name of last time? Kid Chaos, that was it. Not really played that, actually. Yeah. But though, if it's that opening from Magnetic Fields games, then it's actually from a classical piece. It's something's funeral march, isn't it? I want to say Wagner's, but I'm probably completely wrong, so... Venus and Flytrap was the kind of soundtrack. I don't know that now, actually. I'll have to look into that. I was listening to the Toki soundtrack the other day. That's awesome, so... Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Life has a tendency to take over, doesn't it, Rob? So, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happens soon. You know, there's... When I go to the play events, like when I went up to the one up in Blackpool back in October of last year, there was lots of Amiga interest there, so it wasn't just all console and arcade. So, it can't be understated, actually, the affection that the Amiga has in the UK, so there's lots of people who have a lot of time for it. So what I'm doing very slowly here is just very tentatively working on the anti-aliasing. Oh, this is the Supercars theme, I think, isn't it? What I'm listening to. You have, I don't know why I'm commenting on the music, because you have no idea what I'm listening to right now, but probably too much, actually. Sometimes less is more, these things. You've never played Chrono Trigger, Doug? You must. I've got it on a DS as well, but I won't be streaming it from the DS because that would be impossible and rubbish. Although, you know, to play it handheld is perfect. It's the perfect port of the SNES original, say, with the cutscenes taken from the PlayStation version. And a few extra bonus dungeons on the end of it, which are quite fun, so, yeah. It's interesting to see how much face expression is in the eyes and the eyebrows, how little he does need for a nose. Yeah, absolutely true, Error 42. Yeah, this is the common theme with manga and anime aesthetic, is actually you don't need a huge amount of detail. Oops, wrong shade. Of detail in the nose and even the mouth to some description. Sometimes, really, the expression, as it does with most sort of cartoon forms, comes from the eyes and the eyebrows. In fact, actually, most of the characters' emotion is going to be told through the eyebrows. So that's a real trick to sort of master, I think. I'm not saying that I've mastered it, by the way, but it's something that I certainly know over the years has put me in good stead for getting better at it, shall we say so. But yeah, Doug, you really do need to get your... I mean, obviously, like I say, from 9 o'clock BST, so 8 PM UTC, which might be a bit early for you guys on the other side of the pond, unless you're sort of maybe on the East Coast just about. But it's... I will be playing that from, like I say, 9 PM BST, 8 PM UTC this Tuesday, and every Tuesday thereafter for a couple of hours, maybe an hour or so. We'll just see how it goes. But it's one of my all-time favourite JRPGs. It's just exceptionally good. So I play through it about once a year, and I decided it's time to share that playthrough with YouTube. So yeah, noses are hard to draw. I think that's probably why, well, there's loads of reasons why I like manga and anime, but maybe that's why I like manga, because it's easier to draw. I'm not joking, I think there is, you know, I'm not, you know, if you got me to do sort of like a real life picture, it would take me longer. I could do it, but my talents, I think, lay with the with what I'm doing here. So yeah. Ooh. Although I am spending more time practicing my general graphic design skills at the moment, so. But you can see it's just a very meticulous process. There's nothing particularly quick about it. Yeah. What's just come through now is the opening that was used in the magnetic fields openings. So that's what DB was referring to earlier on. Sorry, I'm about 5 minutes behind you music track wise, and yes, it's the Supercars theme music. But yeah, I can't remember exactly, but it's taken from a piece of classical music. It's something's funeral march. I want to say Wagner, but I think I'm pulling that one out of my head completely. So what you do, that's hilarious. When you try drawing faces at school, it always looked like someone had slipped a shaved sausage down the nose, yeah. Call it modern art, yeah. Well, yeah, you know, it's just all about having the right connections and the chutzpah to do it, isn't it? So I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of modern art per se myself. I like some of it, but I've never quite bought into the whole half a shark in some formaldehyde zeitgeist, shall we say. So although that is quite a long time ago now, isn't it, that piece of Damien Hirst's art, shall we say. I can be a bit boring when it comes to my tastes in these things, I suppose, maybe, I don't know, but for me, I just personally appreciate, you know, well, first of all, what I'm doing here today, you know, sort of the manga look, but also things like, you know, Turner and Constable and stuff like that. I'm not very fashionable, is it, to admit that, but that's what I like. I'm not saying I don't see, you know, the point in whatnot. Of course there's a point to it. I mean, I actually do quite enjoy some of Picasso's stuff, and I like some of the sort of the more avant-garde takes on Impressionism with the likes of Cézanne and who was it who did the pictures with all the dots, made many dots. But yeah. There's the famous one, isn't it? I think it's taken from one of the parks in Paris. It's not taken, but painted one of the parks in Paris. It's quite a famous picture, featured in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What's the name of that artist? Geiger. Don't think it was, no. Unless my brain's completely shot, which it probably is, so. Okay, I think that's good. Just for the record, I mean, obviously today being a Sunday, it's a nice just day to chill out and just unwind a little bit and so forth. Like I say, I've been doing a lot of DIY, but I have to say, usually when I'm drawing or painting, I don't usually have something to drink like a beer, because it does require a degree of concentration that evades me when I have a drink, as I think it does most people. So there you go. I think that's looking about right. I just feel that this bit over here is just a little bit heavy-handed. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's looking good to me. Yeah. Great film, isn't it? Error 42. Yeah, one of my all-time favourites. Definitely due a watch again soon. Like to watch that at least a few times a year, particularly when I've had a hard day at work and you just think to yourself, well, this is what I'm going to do in the next, 30 odd years of my life, or am I going to do something else? Yeah, it's a good film to watch when you just need something to, I don't know, not take your mind off of things, but just to remind you. I don't know really, I don't know where I'm going with that, but you know what I mean. Not all of us are doing the job that we dreamed of doing. Not that I ever really thought about doing any particular job when I was younger, to be honest with you, but there you are. I'm just matching up these highlights a little bit on the right eye here with what I've done on the left eye. Yeah, I think that's looking okay. I'm going to rearrange the palette in a minute because I've got a few swatches that are just a little bit like this dark grey on the right hand side here is just a little bit out of place, so I want to do a little bit of palette management in a minute, which won't be a bad thing to go through as a tutorial. Just purely because it's quite important when you're working with limited colours to keep a bit of a track on. That's going to look good there. Keep a bit of a track on where you're using your colours, because otherwise you can quickly run out of them if you're not careful. Yeah, that's looking nice. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think I do want to cut into that a bit. So when I talk about cutting into something, I'm usually referring to sort of like taking away a few pixels. It's not an official term for anything, it's just a term that I use. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. So one of the other things, I don't have really poor eyes. Like, I'm not like this close to the screen on purpose. It's just that I'm really looking at the details closely. I think anybody who does graphics work will say the same thing. Yeah. Is symmetry absolutely crucial for manga faces? Asked DB. Yes and no. Yes, it is. It's pretty essential when it comes to the facial structure. So I'm just going to save this. I mean, obviously you might have a character which obviously is deliberately not symmetrical because it suits their character, but generally speaking you'll find that if you look at most manga art, it's gonna be pretty symmetrical. So obviously with the power of computers I could do that and then flip it with the X key and put it over here. There you go. Drop. So it works, but it does look, I mean obviously the nose has got missing there, but it looks a bit weird if it's perfectly symmetrical. So what I find works well is to make the eyes close but not the same. So that's why I wouldn't go, for example, cut that, flip it with the X key and change the highlight position. Obviously if you drop it down, like, it'll look like Shinji's cross-eyed, but So I never make the eyes exactly the same. I always draw them separately. I mean, occasionally I'll pick up the brush when I'm first drawing and flip it, but then I'll change it. So yeah, I don't always make them perfectly symmetrical. And also the eyebrows I never make symmetrical. Neither the ears and the hair I never do symmetrically either, because it will have the wrong shape. It will look like it's kind of, I don't know, like there's too much volume at the sort of like at the on the crown of the head otherwise. So, but for the facial structure, definitely it's pretty much a required thing for to have some symmetry. So. Darkseed, I've not heard of that. I'll have to look into that. So, yet another game to fill my time with. Okay, so let's just see. I think I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to do a bit of palette management, as I say here. I just want to reorganise these grey shades and all the rest of it. So, generally speaking, Paint's pretty good at handling swapping around the colours. So if I exchange this one with over here, you'll see that the colours start going all a bit crazy, but it's okay. Because what we can do is I should be able to remap this. It doesn't always work sometimes, I've found, but usually it works fine. So okay, that looks like it's done it perfectly well, so good. And the other reason for sorting out the palette management is I've got a lot of greys here, and I just want to find out which ones I'm actually using. So that one's not in use either, so that needs to go. This is why when you sometimes look at some of my palettes, you'll see these really luminous colours. It's for no other reason. Oh, hang on. Oh, I've got to remap it. That's fine. I thought I'd lost the slate grey blue. But this is why you'll see me put these luminous colours in, just purely because I like to see what isn't in use palette register wise. I usually use this really icky green colour, so it's just that it's so obnoxious that you can't help but miss it. So, and that way I know that I'm not just using any old colour that falls underneath my my mouse, as it were. So pretty much from there, we've got the red, which we're not actually going to use, the scarlet here, when we get rid of all these workings. But yeah, so actually most of Shinji there is in 8 colours at the moment, so if there's anything you'd like me to explain about what I'm doing, just don't forget to ask me in the chat or whatever it might be. So right, where to go next with this? I think I'm going to erase this central line now, I don't need it, so full stop for the pixel wide brush. Oh, using the wrong shade there. Just anti-alias these ears, I think. I mentioned in my Deluxe Paint video this week about Deluxe Paint 4 having anti-aliasing built in. So I've just set the anti-aliasing rate to low there. I just used the curve tool to demonstrate this. But I mentioned that it can be a little bit heavy-handed, and this is what I mean. Can you see, even on low, that looks quite a chunky line, and if I was to use this tool in here, I'm just really over, say, this curve here, it will actually absorb quite a lot of pixels. It looks fine, but it's not always the best solution to use. It works okay at a pinch. But if I just do that, it's quite a chunky anti-aliasing. It does work quite well, but yeah, just bear that in mind. Oh, what was the shortcut to tell it? It's Alt Shift now. No. Ooh, I've got this funny button down here. What's that? I've seen that before. I'm guessing that's another little artifact that Do Not Paint 4 is left on the screen. Again, erase that. Turn off anti-aliasing. Yeah, so let's anti-alias these ears. Or the, you know, sort of like the structure within the ears, that is, so. Nobody wants a thick ear. Oh, damn right nobody wants a thick ear. Good one, error 42. So yeah, some of you will be around to join me for Chrono Trigger Tuesdays, as I'll be calling it. And just on a note of no Pixar stream next week. So games wise, I'm not sure whether I'm going to be doing a game stream this Friday, a general game stream this Friday or not, because obviously, as I say, it's quite a long journey down to the southwest for me, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing as regards game stream this week, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll do it on Thursday instead, because that will be the last day of work this week, certainly here in the UK anyway, so as it's a public holiday on the Friday here, so I think it is pretty much in all of the countries of the UK. I'm not aware that Scotland does it different, or Northern Ireland for that matter. Do correct me if I'm wrong though. Oh, that's really good, Phil. Awesome that you got a big box version. Yes, they do exist. Neil, I'm not sure if he's still in the chat, but he brought his Amiga 1500 along, which he'd done a video about, which is well worth looking up if you've not seen it. And that came with the big box. He bought his 1500 as swag, but his 1500 came with Deluxe Paint free in the big box. So the manual was black and white though. I might be wrong. I'm just fairly certain I've seen a colour version of the D-Paint free manual, but maybe my memory's playing tricks on me. But they said, yes, certainly the ring-bound big box version of D-Paint free is a thing. That would have been like the retail version. It tends to be just like the Amiga 500 Plus and the Amiga 600 that came with like the carton that I showed in the video, because that's what I got with my Amiga 600 from back in the day. So but yeah, Deluxe Paint free is awesome. I do find a lot of use for it still. I'll be, even on this Amiga 1200, which we see here. So, as I say, this thing just runs like greased lightning, doesn't it? Yeah, it's the one that's come from my Amiga 600's discs. So, yeah. One of the things I won't be doing with this Ikari character is anti-aliasing the outside, because that will jar too much with the background. In an ideal world I would do that, but it's just going to cause a few too many problems, because what will happen is that against this green here, so let me just Oh, actually, I could just make a stencil. So this will show why I'm keeping the palettes separate. So let's just say I'm going to select all of these colours here. So this is the second half of the palette. I'm even going to choose these horrible greens here. So that's the last 16 colours. I'm going to make the stencil. So now what I can do is I can scribble one of the background colours behind Shinji here. I would if I had the freehand tool selected. There you go, like so. So if I had anti-alias Shinji, so let me just get rid of that again. Oh, did I not? Oh, maybe. Oh no, what's? I shouldn't demonstrate so close to the bugger. Did I not draw that bit in the same black? Oh, never mind. We can quickly fix that. Filled it with some of this dark green here. That's one of the big problems with Deluxe Paint 3, isn't it? It's literally got one level of undo. So I'm also gonna take that out. Tough stencil. Oh dear, there's some heavy duty Deluxe Paint commands going on there, wasn't there? Right, that was a demonstration that didn't go quite as I planned, but basically what I was trying to say is that if you anti-alias the outline of Shinji, what would happen is that you would use some of these lighter greys and they would just jar against the background colours because they won't be sort of like blends of the greens and so forth. So yeah, don't try that at home, kids. Always get permission from your parents or the bill pair before trying that kind of stuff with Deluxe Paint. There we go, back where we were. So hey fam to me, I hope you're well. So there's a real pain about that personal paint version, Doug. I'm surprised that it comes with so many bugs because I remember seeing something posted, I think, in the English Amiga board about that version, and it looked very minor from what I can tell. I think it was slightly improved Italian language catalogues and something about brushes or something I seem to vaguely remember. And for what was such an incremental release, it's not great that it's come out like that, is it? And that they're not getting back to you about the problems. So I mean, obviously the reason that I use D-Paint a lot is just personal affection from my youth and so forth, but also, you know, it does have its glitches, and I oddly enough, I tend to find that the glitches show up more on my AGA 1200 than my ECS A600 in Deluxe Paint 4 AGA. So like those things where you saw little bits of previous requesters still being on the screen and stuff. I don't seem to get that so much with the Amiga 600 for some reason, so I don't know what that's about, but I'm not saying it don't happen, but I do seem to get the odd little glitch more on the AGA Amiga, but yeah, it's very reliable overall. So, oh, you got a copy of Disney Animation Studio 2, which you wanted to use to spec what it seems like. Oh wow, that's awesome that you managed to get Disney Animation Studio, Phil. I must admit, I've been looking out for an original copy for that for some time, but one will eventually turn up. So, so I must admit, at the moment, I'm actually using copies. So. I'm actually really coughing now. Oh dear. That's a shame. That's actually a shame, Doug. I've heard similar things, sadly, about. I've not had any dealings with Aeon, so I can't really comment on that front. But the Amiga kit thing, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that I think obviously they are by far and away probably the largest dealer of Amiga stuff in the UK, and I think they're just rather overworked for the amount of work that they have. I'm not saying that excuses the problems, but I met Chris, who's like their main sort of engineer at Amiga Ireland back in January, and he was a really nice guy, and he actually recapped my Amiga 600, and he did a fabulous job, and you know, he was very helpful on the phone and so forth, but I do get the impression he might be just a little bit overwhelmed with the volume of work actually. So, but it's a shame that they're not getting back to you. I don't think there's any excuses for that. It's tricky, isn't it? I suppose it's. I mean, obviously, I run my own little photography business as well, so I always take the view that if I'm really busy and I know that it's going to take me a day or two to get back to somebody properly, what I'll always do with in that instance is I'll always just drop a very quick email to, you know, my couple or whatever it is that have emailed me, and just saying, oh, it's really great to hear from you, just to let you know I'm really busy at the moment, so I want to give your email for all attention that it deserves, but I just want to let you know it's going to be a couple of days for me before I can get back to you. Hope that's okay. If it's urgent, give me a ring, kind of thing. And virtually nobody ever rings as a result of that. They just appreciate the fact that I've kept them in the loop, so I think that's just generally a good customer service thing. And I'm not saying that Amiga Kit has bad customer service, and I just think they're a bit overwhelmed with their volume of work, but yeah. But, you know, I'm not here to defend them necessarily. I don't have any personal interests there. I suppose my dealings with them have always generally been pretty good, so I can only, you know, say as I see really with these things, can't I? So what I'm doing here is I'm just tightening this hairline here, which I only very roughly did the other day, so yeah. Yeah, I feel yours, yeah. Yeah, it does sound like that personal paint version is pretty badly bugged. So, yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame. I mean, I do use personal paint 7.1 on this. Where'd it go? Where is it? There it is. Yeah, I use version 7.1, which I originally got in an Amiga format cover CD 20 odd years ago. There it is. P-Paint 7.1. It was 1997. Ooh, maybe it was quite a while ago. Well, it's 22 years ago. Crikey. It does have a website address on it though, so it's old, but it doesn't. It's not as old as it could be, but God, 1997, 22 years ago. Feels more like at very best 2 years ago in my head. Crikey. That means that I would have bought my copy of Chicane Offshore 22 years ago. Oh dear. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed the stream, guys. I'm trying to keep up the chat, but I'm also sort of just getting on with my thing here, so. I would love to draw that piece, DB, yeah. It's my intention to actually show some more sort of higher colour drawing on the Amiga as well, so things in ham and so forth, because on here I've got usually 1200 in general, quite a lot of stuff at once. I don't run photogenics on the 600, it would be too slow, but you do have things like natural media with photogenics. I'm just diving into this now. Oh, I'm just going to change this up. I've obviously been able to do a photo in here before, so let's just change this to plastic light. Which is actually quite effective, and I am going to set myself a challenge to try and draw a scene like that one out of Totoro using the Amiga. Now it's going to be a big ask because obviously I only have a mouse, I don't have a graphics tablet for the Amiga, and it may turn out complete rubbish, but you have got you know, quite good drawing capabilities with. Let's just get this moving, for example. Oh, it is showing it's just to change the brush size. I've got to remember how to do that. Oh, is it because it's just set to pencil, maybe? Let's just see. Oh, yeah. I need to arrange. I shouldn't really demonstrate things that I've not played with. Oh, here we go. So yeah, this looks really terrible at the moment. And as you can see, it's quite blocky, but it does paint pretty well, actually. But, you know, if you want to just... Let's just find it. Oh, of course, yeah, that's the other thing I always forget about Photoshop. It's got to fix and then change the colours there. Fix that. So whilst this looks really blocky here, for example, it is actually a 24-bit image, and you'll be surprised actually how good this stuff looks when you actually look at it properly. And then I just let's go for the airbrush. Just change the size of that. Let's just go with some indigo. Obviously this is not me trying to draw Totoro, this is just me messing about. As if you couldn't tell. Obviously this is on a handheld screen. Oh, that was awful. I thought it was going to look better than that. Oh, I've not fixed the airbrush. Should be better resolution than that, or maybe it won't be. I don't know. Okay, that's a bit more like. Yeah, it's just got a lot of hand fringe in there, but you can actually do some impressive stuff with photogenics. The airbrushing is pretty good, so. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it a go at some point. It is possible to do. I might even just try it with just Deluxe Paint, even, you know, just because the hand mode does work to an effect. Or I could use Brilliance. Maybe that's a bit faster in hand mode. But yeah, that wasn't the best demonstration of my painting skills, by the way. So if you want to see some actual manga that I draw, I did actually draw a picture from Secret of Mana about a year ago, half a year or so ago. On my channel, so which was just drawn on my Mac using Sketchbook, so. But yes, I'd love to draw that picture, DB. I love the bus stop and that, just the colour of it, so inky blue, and it's one of the best scenes in a movie. Yeah, it's good that you guys are going to get your bug reports in on Amiga Raw. Good idea, guys. Vampire. Not for me personally. I think it's a really cool and amazing thing. I think it's a really good thing for the Amiga. Just bear with me. I'm just going to open the window and it's actually getting quite warm. See why it's getting warm. Yeah, I think the Vampire's awesome, but I'm not really. To be honest with you, if I want to do, I'm using this phrase very flippantly, not in, you know, intending to draw a comparison, but if I want to do high quality artwork, then I will, you know, like actual manga that I can print at high resolution or whatever, then I will draw it on the Mac. just because I've got the graphics tablet and because I'll get the greater fidelity out of it. But if I want to go for the pixelated retro look, I can do that with an older Amiga. And I've actually put an ACA 1221 in this Amiga 1200, so it is moderately accelerated. It runs like stink as far as I'm concerned, and there's some extra memory. But otherwise, the Amiga 600, apart from the RAM, is 68,000, and my Amiga 500 does have an ACA 500 plus in it, but I just like the old classic stuff, I guess. So. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Doug. I'd be happy to collaborate on a review of it. So, I do need to send you some photos as well. So I will be sorting it out probably tomorrow night. I hope that's okay. Or if you need them for your next video, you just let me know. So, I know I've been a bit slow getting around to that, but I would say it's been it had been a very busy week for me actually. But feels like a distant memory nowadays, so which is a good thing. Okay, yeah, Shinji's looking pretty good there, so let's fill in some of this here. So if you're wondering why the fill can for the flood filler's got this dark blue, it's because it's taken it from this colour here, otherwise known as Pen 20. And these four colours here are where, generally speaking, Amiga OS gets its mouse pointer colours from. So it just chimes in with the original Amiga chipset sprite capabilities. So it always took Sprite 1's colour palette from palette registers 16 through 20. So it's not because it's actually going to fill in the dark blue. It's just that's how sprites work on an Amiga. So it can be a little bit confusing for the uninitiated. So. Let me just put this bit here as well. Excuse me. Oh, there's a bit more of this sprinkling there. Yeah, the 1221 was the only accelerator I could get hold of at the time, Rob. But for my use, it's ideal actually. It gives the extra memory that I need. It was brand new because as much as like things like the Blizzards and so forth are excellent accelerators, they are all, well, pretty much all of the 1230 Mark IVs are going to be 20 years old, and I don't know, something doesn't quite chime well with me spending a lot of money on 20-year-old hardware like that. I know obviously the Amiga I'm using is also oh, excuse the door slamming there. I know the Amiga 1200 I'm using here is obviously 20, how old is it, 93 I think this one was made. So let me just think, how long was it? 26 years, is that 26 years ago? Jeez. Yeah, so it's a fair old while ago. But anyway, so it just didn't sit well with me to spend that kind of money on you know, like £300 on an 030 that's 20 odd years old. So, but yeah, I agree. The ACA 500 Plus is awesome, and I actually bought a second one this week on the credit card, admittedly, but because I'm going to put an Amiga 500 motherboard into my checkmark case when I get it from Stephen Jones. And it's going to be my Amiga 3000 substitute, which I should never have sold all those years ago. So yeah. Yeah, this is looking pretty good now. It's getting there, so we can need some shading on it soon as well. So I think I'm gonna. Where I think I'm just going to get a sensor and change all of the red up here into black pen now. So that to make. And then I'm going to mix up the colour for Shinji's hair. I'm just going to reuse this red pen here now. And Shinji's hair is actually quite similar to this. Slightly purplish brown actually. It's not as, it's much darker than that, so probably somewhere around there. Not quite chestnutty, it's quite red, isn't it? But probably somewhere around there. Let's just scale that for OCS and ECS Amigas. 17. Yeah, it's about right, I think. Let's check that out. Oh, stencil off. It's a bit too dark, I think. Oh, hang on, have I? It's too dark. You'll see I always use HSV for these things. Because that's the best way. Oh, let me just scale it again. It's the best way to mix colours as far as I'm concerned. Did a video about that which I'd highly recommend you check out if you're struggling to make colours. That's interesting, that actually shows the red channel is the only one that's active. Sure as hell doesn't look red, does it? Let's just bring in. Oh, that is interesting. This is why it's quite important to scale your colours if you want this to look good on an older Amiga, because otherwise the colours will look different to what you expect. No, it's not looking right to me, so. Yeah, it's awesome that he's, yeah, you don't have to be a part of supporting it to, you know, like, I think a lot, you know, he would, Stephen would appreciate the amount of people who are just rooting for his success, so, you know, he's doing a great job, and I can only say that the amount of updates he's providing is exceptional, so I have every faith in the end product, and I'm just glad that I'll be able to have something that roughly approximates my Amiga 3000. No idea where I'm going to set it up though, I don't have the room for it, but when the opportunity to purchase a replica Amiga 3000 case came up, I just thought, well, you'll always regret it if you don't get it, so I must admit it has been a bit of a credit card purchase for me. I'm steadily paying off each month because obviously I've bought the ACA. Oh, I love this track. Obviously, don't forget I'm listening to music a little bit behind you guys, but this is the Pinball Illusions opening theme. In my headphones, on black. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I picked up a second ACA 500 for it. Probably stick a little heatsink on the 68,000 on it and running it at something like 28 megahertz, I guess. So I know it can do 42, but I'd rather keep the hardware running at a steady rate. I know it's probably stable now, but I'm thinking I want this thing still to be working in 20 years' time, which maybe I'm being optimistic, I don't know, but I don't want to overcook it, so don't know, so let me just double check. Yeah, his hair's quite dark, isn't it? So I'm just looking at a picture of Shinji here. Just when I flood fill this colour, it just doesn't seem to be ringing true to me. It's just a bit too red. Let's bring it over into this spectrum. It's a bit greenish there. Let's try that. I thought it looked a bit greenish. This is just one of those interesting things about picking. Oh, I know that's because it's on HSV. Sorry, I thought I was messing with HSV sliders earlier on. I wish this would remember. That's my another little small criticism of Deluxe Paint. I wish it would remember what you'd chosen in the palette. Between opens, because as soon as I close this now, it will go back to RGB. Just looks too dark to me. I'm a bit fussy when it comes to colours. See, again, that goes back to sort of being barely red, because that will look quite red on it would be sort of like a very dark red on an Amiga 500, that one. Let's just use the RGB values. Okay, let's try that. That looks a bit better to my eyes. Yeah, it's not ideal. I might have to work on that a little bit more, but yeah. There's always room for more retro, as sure as say. Yeah, looking forward to when he interviews Michael Battilano as well. I met Michael Battilano a couple of times this year at Amiga Ireland and the Swag Workbench back in... was that in January as well? Yeah, the very tail end of January, wasn't it? So... And he was very, very nice, you know. So, I don't frequent the Amiga forums that often these days. Not that I ever really did, but I pop into the English Amiga board every now and then. And of course, obviously, lots of people, when the news about Jens Schoenfeld's, or Jens Schoenfeld, sorry, and him potentially pulling out of the Amiga market surfaced, there was a lot of ridiculous, very vitriolic comment coming out of a lot of people, which I think was totally unjustified. You know, we're not in all possession of the facts and stuff. And it's, yeah. So yeah, that interview which Stephen Jones is going to do will be very interesting, I think. So I don't have a side in this. Personally, I'm rooting for Commodore. I think they stand a fair chance. That's who my colours are nailed to anyway. Oh, IK Plus now. How are we looking? That's looking pretty good. Okay, yeah. I'm going to add a little bit of shading to this just to give it a little bit of dimension. So, probably just... So just remember about the direction of light. Actually, I'm also going to save this at this point as well. Yeah, it's important to remember your direction of light, so I'm just going to flip to the spare page, just get rid of my slightly blue-looking Shinji there. Let's just look at these composites, that'll do. Nope. Yeah, so the light's coming from the right, so the shadow will be on the left-hand side, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in a little shadow down this side of the face, just to give it a bit of dimension. I should, in theory, I think... Oh, is this? yeah, I should be able to use that shade there. So what we'll do is we'll just bring this down here. Actually, what I'm going to do before I do that, just so you can see this in action again, I'm going to fix the background because this allows us to work on something like this without destructing the image below it, so it's quite important. Might actually just extend the shadow to go up here. So the idea with fixing the background is that I could do whatever I want to this picture, like so, and I can click clear and the background's completely protected, so it's kind of a bit like layers. I did a video about that recently, so do check that out if you want to find out some more techniques surrounding that. So it's a very cool feature of Deluxe Paint that's been there since version 2. So yeah, I'm just drawing in this little bit of a shadow that's just going to extend down the left hand side of Shinji's face here. The music in my headphones, where's that? Okay, put it back again now. So yeah, so this shadow's just going to extend down the left-hand side of Shinji here. So what I'm thinking of doing with the checkmate case is actually doing a live streaming of me putting it all together, which would be quite fun, and sort of like, you know, building a new Amiga. Oops, forgot the background was locked. So that would be pretty awesome to do. So I am definitely looking at doing that. So because I will be putting an Amiga 500 into the case, and yeah, so there'll be an ACA 500 plus. There'll be the Zorro 2 adapter board. I'm mostly buying it so that I can actually put the ACA 500 in there because it acts as a sort of like a kind of a right angle adapter for the 86-pin expansion slot on the side. Bit like those old PCM-CIA adapters that we bought for our towered Amiga 1200s back in the day. So you could still use your SCSI Squirrel SCSI card. But yeah, so that's what I'm hoping to do. Also bought the keyboard kit for it, so I can put the A500's repurposed motherboard into there, a keyboard into there. So, but otherwise, it's just going to be sort of an OCS machine inside of it. So I'm going to flood fill that now, I think. So let's just free the background so that I can fill it. Yeah, that's good. It does add a Zorro 2 slot, doesn't it, Doug? I must admit, I don't actually have any Zorro 2 cards to put in it though, so in time, who knows really, but yeah, for now I don't actually have anything to place in there. So I mean, obviously I could source a great expense graphics card, but I really cannot honestly see me doing that. You know, obviously it's not me doing the Amiga down in any way, but I'm not being funny, but if I want to draw an actual piece of artwork, I'm going to, you know, like that I need in high resolution, I'm going to draw that on my Mac, just purely because I've got a graphics tablet. I'm going to be able to draw a 300 dpi image. It's going to be, you know, I draw on the Amiga because I enjoy the aesthetic of the low resolution. I'm not using the Amiga to, you know, produce high resolution artwork these days. Personally, I'm not saying it's not good for doing it. I mean, it can do it, no doubt about it. But I'm not really that kind of digital artist. I will try it, like I said earlier on to DB's question about drawing that famous scene out of Totoro, to sort of show what the Amiga could do. But for me, I'm more inclined to not make my life difficult when it comes to that stuff. So a 24-bit, 25-year-old Zorro 2 graphics card would probably be the most useful thing that I could put in there, but it would still be a lot of expense for a little overall game. So what I'm actually going to do instead of that is buy a Raspberry Pi, and Stephen Jones is building this clever thing that's going to allow, one, the Pi to be mounted in the case, but also allow it to be used transparently somehow with the actual Amiga in there, so like his Siamese system of old. So that's going to be very cool, and of course obviously that will all be UAE, and that will allow me to essentially emulate the graphics card in there. So if I do want to do high resolution artwork in photogenics, for example, I will do it that way rather than buying a Picasso 2 or something like that. So, because I'm not being funny, but just for me personally, I can think of a lot of things that I would sooner spend however many hundreds of pounds on: a holiday, some travel, some Mega Drive games, some SNES games. I don't know. I'm joking about the games. Sort of. It's quite a good idea actually. I could buy some games. So we'll see. And then we need to add shadow as well. And then I need to add in some shading for the ear here as well, because these bits here are going to be not catching the source of light, as it were. So at least there's one thing in the pixel art days, you didn't have to worry about calibrating your screen, you just drew. Not that you could actually see a damn thing when you're... Because like, when I first started doing pixel art on my Amiga 600, you know, obviously this is when I was like 10, 12, whatever years old, I would be doing it on a television connected with RF. So it's no wonder that I have to wear contacts these days. I'm just basically putting some shadows in just for like the eye socket here. Not necessary, but it's quite a nice thing to do. So I might actually just experiment here, as if that's the eye socket as well. So. Yeah, I think that's good. You might wonder why I keep on tilting my head. It's just that it's something I do all the time when I'm working on stuff like this. It's just that sometimes if you want to see if something's working, to turn it upside, you know, not upside down, but to look at it at different angles really helps. I'm just wondering whether the nose actually just needs to come over a shade, so it might look a little bit better just a couple of pixels over. Because if you think about it, this is, I'm pointing at the screen here, but this bit here is actually where, you know, like in your eye socket here, as it comes down into the nose. So it kind of needs to follow that this line is going to arch down almost to what this is, which is the tip of the nose. And I think it's too far over where it is now. So I think it needs to come over here. That might be a shade too far, but let's just see. Yeah, it just needs to come over probably a pixel or so. probably about there. Yeah, that looks better to me. And obviously the nose will cast a little shadow as well, so that just needs to be drawn in just a little there. There we go. It's probably almost invisible, but it doesn't hurt to hint at it. So what I'm actually going to do, I think I might do. It's quite a tricky one to pull off this. Yeah. Does that work? I think so. So basically I'm just refining yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah, it's looking quite pleased with that so far. I might just draw in just a little bit more shadow for Shinji's hair over here. That tip of the hair in, so this is coming back here. Just going to catch up in the chat. Sorry, getting carried away with what I'm doing. Isn't these days Amiga org also hosted by the you know, the Amiga kit guys? It'd be mildly ironic if you've got problems getting registered there, Rob, and yeah, that's good. And it turns out that it's also the same company behind it there, so yeah, that's good. Oh, thanks, DB. That's really kind of you. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really pleased with this so far. So the idea is that I will anti-alias the interior a little bit more. So like the hairline and so forth. And also the inner parts of the shirt that Shinji is wearing. So it's got a little way to go yet. And also I want to you know, do little details like up here where I want to just bring a little bit of this brown into this little tuft of hair that's poking out here. Just to give it some shape. But that's really, really kind of you, so DB, it's the reason that I sort of say about, well, I wouldn't, you know, necessarily spend all of my videos trying to do 24-bit drawings with my Amiga is because, you know, it's this aesthetic that I really, you know, that I really enjoy doing on the Amiga. You know, like when you look at really classy pixel art on, it's like last night I was playing Alicia Dragoon, and don't get me wrong, it's not the best pixel art you're ever going to see, but there's just something about that aesthetic that, you know, and the Amiga is a great tool to do it on. You know, it's, yes, you can do it on a PC or a Mac with a Sprite or Photoshop or whatever, but there's something really cool about being able to do this on a system of the day, like the Amiga. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this so far. I don't want to sort of say that in a big-headed way. Hopefully you guys have been following long enough to know that that's... Oops, I used the wrong pen there. Know me well enough to know that I'm not that kind of person. But you have to have a little bit of liking in what you do, otherwise you would, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely coming together well, and compared to my original sketch, I think it's pretty faithful. What I'm going to do is just going to switch to the webcam mode. So just, obviously you've got the screen there with Shinji on the Amiga 1200. And then if I just come back into the webcam. So there was the original sketch. So if I just try and angle this alongside. Oh, this is difficult when you're doing it. So I definitely think it's got the gist of it. So let's see if we can do a comparison. So there it Shinji. Go to the scene. Goes there. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, looking alright. Thanks, Rob. It's been really great to have you here, so thanks for joining us. So, yeah, you will see more of it soon. I'll let you know when the next Pixel Art stream is. There may be one over Easter, but like I say, don't necessarily expect one on Sunday next weekend. So, yeah, so thanks for joining us. I obviously, as you'll see, I still do a lot of pencil sketching, so if I just come back to the webcam, so one of the next pictures that I might draw that's Evangelion related, I thought I might get onto it today, but we'll just see. So I'm probably going to wrap this up in the next half an hour or so, just so I can have a little break in between all of this bit. So I really want to do this sketch of Asuka that I did quite some time ago now. So I really want to get this one drawn pixel art as well. So, but yeah, so that would be a really cool one. I really like that pose of Asuka there. So very determined. So, but I do draw sort of. Where is it? So I do draw sort of manga panels as well. So I just sort of recreated this one from the Evangelion manga. So. This is pencil and pen, that one. There's not pixel art or digital, that, so yeah. I don't know which way to point it, so yeah. I really like the explosion scenes as well when the angel's been attacked. So cool stuff. So yeah, so it'd be cool to do some more of the sketches that are in this book. So cool. Game of Thrones, I've not watched a single episode of it in my life. I'm not joking, DB, I really haven't. Not for any real reason. I don't actually own a television. I don't even have Netflix. I just listen to CDs and records and watch my DVDs and stuff, really. I'm a bit old school. You never have got the impression that I'm a bit old school by the fact that I sit around on a Sunday afternoon drawing a 26-year-old Commodore Amiga, would you? So, thanks, Phil. How should you show off your pencil and ink art? If you want to watch some really good stuff, you might already be aware of him, but I've mentioned him a few times in the streams, but he's just a top guy, and I no shame mentioning him at all. But Mark Crilly, he's awesome. Check out he does like live drawing streams. He would do it much better than what I could, but yeah, maybe sometime. So yeah, but yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be lots of people sitting up waiting for that as well as you, DB. But it's not for any real reason. It's just yeah, I don't have Sky or whatever it's on. I don't know. Is it Netflix? I'm really out of the loop when it comes to television and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, so let's just flip back to Amiga. Yeah, it was drawing those panels, Phil, actually, that prompted me to draw some black and white panels on the Amiga itself. So you might have seen these in previous streams, so I do apologise if you've already seen. I'm just going to put Dopus because it's just a bit quicker to navigate the folders. Folder. Oops, what's IDFO? Oh, that's the virtual drive graphics. So I just what's this one? Yeah, so I draw sort of like panels like this. So this is just low res. Yeah, just sort of drawing that sort of inspired me to draw some other panels on the Amiga. They're all black and white, these, or grayscale, not play, parent. What's this one? Oh, that's a high-res interlace one. Yeah, so that took pretty much all day to draw that one, so... But that was cool to do. I didn't used to do a lot of high-res interlace artwork back in the day because it was quite hard to see the pixels on the smaller screens. Like, I've never been able to do this on a television. So I didn't do a lot of high-res interlace stuff back in the day. I used to do a little bit once I got a VGA monitor from my Amiga 1200 back in the day, which I could run in was it? What was VGA only driver? So you could like have 640 by 480 and however many colours with no flicker. What else we got? Oh, I quite like this one. If it's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Vertical lines are quite a good way of... And actually you can see here, these vertical lines are actually using the anti-aliasing built into Deluxe Paint 4. So they do have their uses. But yeah, it's quite cool to see what you can squeeze out of 320 by 256 pixels. What else we got? You probably see, well, this was the thumbnail for today's stream, wasn't it? So yeah, that's one that I drew. I wasn't very well at the start of the year. I had a nasty flu or something, knocked me out for about 3 days, and then, well, I say knocked me out. I couldn't speak. I completely bunged up and everything, and just virtually no energy to move about. But I was able to at least do a little bit of artwork on Amiga because I spent a weekend. This was done on my Amiga 600. And some other black and white. Well, I don't know what this is. I've got. I'll not play. I keep it hidden play, don't I? Oops. It's just a little letterbox one. Hey there, Sansian. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Beautiful weather here in Sussex, so I hope it was good down in the southwest. What else we got? You can see on the right hand side there, because Deluxe Paint doesn't have pattern fills like Personal Paint has. That's actually quite a good use of Personal Paint as well as its pattern fills. I draw out a few brushes that I can pull out as sort of like pattern fills. So yeah. I've just been saying in the stream earlier on, Tim, that next Saturday I shall be down in your neck of the woods for a day of retro fun and frolics. We was saying that potentially it might be a little bit of a stream, just depends on the day and everything. But what was this one? I'm guessing that's the finished one. Oh, it's the same picture. I've obviously got that in 2 folders. Need to tidy that up. Or is this one different here? I've got a feeling this is different. Oh no, so it's just a duplicate folder. Probably some earlier workings of it, so I need to sort that out. Oh yes, yeah, I've just been running UAE files. I drew this one at work. Over a couple of lunch times on my MacBook. So, but obviously in Deluxe Paint, but yeah. What else we got here? Sorry, I got sidetracked here. I also just did a little bit, I'm not saying these are great by the way, but I did a little bit of trying to imagine what these would be like as like portraits in a JRPG. So I don't think this one of Asuka's particularly great, but in just like 8 colours I think is what I was trying to do. So yeah, I think I could do a better job than that, but it's not too bad. But she looks a bit too Disney there, unfortunately. So whoops. The one of Ray's better. So yeah. Yeah, just trying to imagine it as for a JRPG. The one of Shinji's okay as well, actually. Yeah. See, that's the colour brown that I was looking for. Trolls? What, as in the multicoloured troll things, Tim? And Shinji's the fun working it. This one here, I quite like this one actually. Oops! Ooh, what's all that? Escape, escape, escape. Yeah. So yeah, so those are some of the panels that I've actually drawn on an Amiga. So anyway, we get sidetracked. So this is what we've been drawing today, Tim. So DB makes a good question. So that logo, let's clear this. Oh, stencil maybe? Yeah. Still safe. I'm just going to save this because I know what I'm like. Sometimes I forget and I think, yeah, I've saved it, and I quit. And then so you'll be surprised. One of the things that I've noticed. Let me just load this in. Oh, I don't know why that one. Oh, I'm typing it in the pattern box. Let me just load in the logo that I drew. Well, not drew, but put together. Let's just remap the brush. Just halve this. This might look a bit blocky. So that's it there. So that looks very much like it. So, but basically, what it is basically just a stretched version of Times, or Times New Roman. So if you get your CG Times font on your Amiga, so let's say, let's just go for 36. There we go. Just type in neon there, like so, and then you can double it vertically, like so, looking a bit like it now, isn't it? And what you can do is you can just tidy it up, you know, because obviously it looks a bit blocky. But essentially, yeah, it's just, and obviously change the kerning of the font as well. But otherwise, it's basically just a double height Times. And it looks, yeah, identical, doesn't it? So, there you go. No special trick to that. Error 42 says, I'll take trolls over squeaky high-pitched voices any day. Well, Error 42, I'm sorry to say that occasionally I do have a very squeaky high-pitched voice as well, but anyway, enough of my party tricks. I'm sorry about that, everybody. I just had to. So, yes, Alvin and the Chipmunks. So, Bondigo 72. Oh yeah, awesome. So yeah, so it's, yeah, this is looking pretty good now. So I'm pretty happy with this. Where do I want to go next with this? Let's just keep working on the hair because I can see a few little issues here and there that need a bit of refinement. So no, it becomes pixels immediately, DB. So yeah, that's the one thing. There is no special text functionality with Deluxe Paint. It's yeah, but even once you've hit enter to move on to the next line, you can't go back up onto the previous line. So it's, yeah, Deluxe Paint's text editing is very disturbing. What to do? Yes, it probably was. But yes, it becomes rasterized pretty much immediately. So. Yeah, I don't like to do my squeaky high-pitched voice unless you're really in trouble. But it does say that on the helium bills it has to be said error 42, so... Yeah, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm just looking for just little pieces where I can just reduce the density of the black outline. Just where there's a little bit of overlap of where I've originally drawn this, so just requires a certain degree of patience, this part, but it's definitely worth doing it. So Do. Magic Pockets, oh awesome. I was saying earlier on that whilst I'm listening to the same mix as you guys, I'm actually listening to it probably about 5 minutes behind where you are. So I'm just listening to Turrican 2 at the minute. So it's just because obviously to listen to myself with the music at the same time would be really disturbing. I mean, you know, I'm only ever going to voice the squeaky voice from you guys. I'm not going to listen to that rubbish. Hey Bishbot! Did I miss you creeping earlier on? Sorry if I did. But hello if you haven't said hello till now. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. So yeah, I'm just looking for stray pixels like up here, just to take the weight out of bits that don't need that extra density, shall we say. I mean, I'm probably going into this too much, but I've spent this long on this now that I might as well just do the job properly with it all, so... Okay, there's also going to need to be a bit of a shadow in Shinji's can't get the word out, shirt here. Oh, I've got cannon fodder now on my particular point in the playback here, so is that right? As I said earlier on, guys, if you didn't catch Ravi Abbott's Retro Ravi 8-bit mixes mix last night on his Amiga 1200s, do make sure you check it out. It was absolutely epic. So I was listening to it whilst I was working on a bit of this. Really enjoyed it, so definitely check it out if you like your Amiga game music, and also just general mods. You had a few classic demo scene tracks, so yeah. Benchmarking superposition for 2 days. I have absolutely no idea what that is, Pishbot, but I hope it went well, so... Not fun? Oh. I have to ask the question, if it wasn't fun, was there a particular reason that you was doing it, or...? Yeah, this is looking alright. So again, just think about shadows, because obviously the collar is going to be overlapping, and therefore the light won't hit that. So it may actually hit it on this side though, thinking about it, because if the light is coming in from the right hand side of Shinji, then it may just about get there, so I might just refine that. Again, I'm probably looking into this too much, but let's face it, it's little details like this that actually make the difference. Oh dear. Yes, that famous crossover, James Bond 2 with RoboCop. I've not got to that bit, like I say, in the music yet, with how far behind my but good old typos, eh? So this is just a little bit of gentle anti-aliasing in here, so needed the extra performance to try ray trace, not really worth it for cost. Wow. Sounds incredibly complicated, I have to say, but yeah. I must admit, ray tracing was something that was always well beyond my capabilities. Or if I'm obviously, you know, it's not really my main interest really. You know, 3D art, I think that should be pretty self-evident with my interests, as it were, but yeah, massive respect for anybody who does it. It's an amazing talent to have. That looks a bit heavy there. Hey Dave, hope you're well. Well, I've already made that joke, haven't I, Dave? Was it like watching Deluxe paint dry? So yeah, there's lots of Amiga streaming going on today. I've got Amiga build probably in the next 40 minutes or so, so I'm probably going to stop this stream in about 10 minutes time or so, just so that I can have a little bit of a breather and just stretch my legs, as I've been sat down now for about, I can't believe it's been basically almost 2.5 hours. Yeah, so and the Amigos, Boat and Aaron, they're recording tonight. I think Hitch is streaming. It's all going off, so open the gin. Oh, I've already had a beer. I've been drinking this, I have to excuse my extremely fluent German, Franziskaner Weiss beer. Anyway, it's blonde beer anyway, wheat beer, so rather good. Quite enjoyed the old blonde beers, so. But then I like things like Earl Grey tea as well, so. But I had a day off for the well, to be honest with you, I don't tend to drink except on Friday or Saturday evenings anyway. But I decided to have a night off of the booze last night. Not any real particular reason really, I just didn't really fancy it last night, so I still had lots of fun playing games though. I was playing Elisa Dragoon on the Mega Drive and also a bit of Aladdin, so yeah, it was a good night. So as I said earlier on, I'm going to be starting a live stream of Chrono Trigger, the superb JRPG that first came out on the Super Nintendo way back in 1995 from Squaresoft. This Tuesday coming at 9 PM British Summer Time or 8 PM UTC. If you're into your JRPGs or you're slightly curious and you want to see one of my all-time favourite games, I play it once a year, probably, and I thought this time I would share it with YouTube. So it's going to take a few weeks to do, to say the least. Maybe for the rest of the year, who knows? But we're going to play for a couple of hours on Tuesday evening. So do check that out if you're interested. Only Amiga makes retro streaming possible. Yeah, sure. We've come a long way since that first stream of mine, haven't we, where we had all those lag problems. So definitely give the thumbs up to the Magewell. So, and my 7-year-old Mac Mini seems to cope with it all just fine, which makes me happy, as I'd rather spend my money when it comes to computers on old ones, not new ones. Which actually makes sense. Maybe I should be spending money on the Mac Mini, as it's quite retro in many respects, probably. Yes, I've just got some Magic Pockets now as well, so so 90s, love it. JRPG curious, is this a thing now? I couldn't possibly say. Maybe that's the name of a new YouTube channel in the making there, JRPG curious, you know. I think everybody should be JRPG curious. You've nearly filled up all the available tables at Swag. That's amazing, Dave. Yeah, Rob contacted me last night because he saw that I'd booked 2 tables, because I'd booked one for myself and Tim, the Future is 8-bit, in the chat there. And he was just double checking that I hadn't accidentally booked another one. I said, nope, it's definitely 2. So yeah, no, I thought it was best to step on it. So I really appreciate you getting in touch last night to say that they were now available for sale. So yeah, we're really super excited for that event in May. So it's gonna be really good fun. Yeah, definitely worth the trip. So I'll almost certainly be staying over that night. So if any of you guys, obviously Tim, I'll chat to you separately about this, but if you want to go and grab dinner afterwards, I'll be staying probably at a local pub nearby, I guess, so where I stayed last time. I'm not sure if Anthony and Chris and Andy are coming this time or not, but I shall check in with them as well. But basically, I shall be staying in the area that night. Oh, I'm not meant to be anti-aliasing outside. The reason I'm not anti-aliasing outside of the picture, folks, just in case you've just recently joined, is because this will be overlaid on a background and these colours may clash with that. So yeah, that's the main reason why. Okay, let's look at the time. Okay. Nino Kuni on PS3 is a great JRPG. Pishbot, you're absolutely right. I think Sansi and Tim, the Future is 8-bit, he's got 3 names now. asked a few weeks ago what was my next system to pick up, and I said PS3. Now it doesn't sound very exciting, but one of the main reasons for it is to get Ni no Kuni, which looks absolutely epic, sort of beautiful sort of cell shading, and I love the idea of the storyline as well. It's right up my street. So yeah, PS3 definitely. So that, and I desperately want to play all 90 billion versions of FIFA Soccer that was released for it. Being serious there. That and Madden. I don't really. So, yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh, sorry, Richard, that's right, yeah, so, not Andy. We're going to run out of letters any day now, yeah. DB says, I love how Shade, no matter how simple, really helps sing sweet stuff. I wish I'd say like it's supposed to be like. Well, there's a very easy way to do it, DB. At this time of day, which it is here in the UK, it's now what, 6:30. So the sun's getting lower in the sky, and I don't know if I can show you outside of here. Let's see. Will the cable reach? I don't actually know. Let's see if I can. Sorry for the wonky cam, guys. I just want to show you something. So. Okay, let's come over this way. Let's see if the cable will reach. Oh, there you go. So that's outside at the moment. So the best way to learn about light. Oh, let's get this the right way up. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to be this disorientating. But the best way to learn light is just to look at it. So just look outside. You can see how the tree there is casting shadows. As the sun drops, it just becomes much easier to see when you observe it either first thing in the morning as the sun rises or as it's coming down, and that is where you're going to learn your light sourcing. Just look at the real world. Oh dear, I can't get that the right way up. But yeah, that's your best tutor, real life. Ooh. Right, motion sickness tablets will be supplied with the next stream, so... Oh, thanks, Pishbot. Yeah, no, I only live in a little small place, so small village, so... It is a beautiful day out there. Hey, Late Night Reviews, hope you're well. Good to see you. Excuse me. So I just want to flip back to the screen because I just want to show you roughly how this is going to look composited. Obviously this is not finished yet, it needs a bit more work, but let's just save this. But yeah, that is definitely your best tutor, DB. Look at the real world and it will tell you everything you need to know about light. So yeah. The thing with it is be consistent, so DB's in Kent, yeah, so I'm in Sussex, so you'll have a similar evening, I'm guessing, so you're all good stuff, Late Night Reviews. It is a beautiful day here, beautiful evening, so it's slightly warmed up this evening now actually. It was really quite cold earlier on, it was about 8 degrees here, so I guess that would be about, in Fahrenheit, what's that, about roughly 55 or something, is it? No, it's less than that, isn't it? High 40s? I don't know, I'm no good at Fahrenheit. So it was quite chilly, so I was wearing my woolly hat and scarf earlier on, but it's actually warmed up quite a bit now, but it is meant to be about 20 degrees next weekend here, so what's that, 68 Fahrenheit for those on the other side of the pond. So let's just save that. So let's just composite this with the rough approximation of the background. So make sure I can capture all of that. Cool. That's one thing that's definitely quicker with the A1200 is picking up large brushes and moving them around. So let's just load in the this background here. Oh, not that background, intro, was it? So, I'm just going to load this one because I think I did a... Ooh. Stencils, look, Shinji's emerging from the mountains now. Sort of like a... Scary. That's weird. Stencil. No, you're okay, Post-it Dave. I'd rather you filled up the tables and got lots of people to come along and say, no, please share away. So you can see how this will work quite nicely on top of the background. The idea is to actually have this all scrolling in so that Shinji comes into view. And there'll be parallax as well, because I've drawn these all as separate layers essentially. So, yeah. Oh, G-Paint's most famous annoying bug about pasting brushes down when you're out of view comes into play there. You can see it's snipped off a bit of Shinji's shoulder there. It just, Deluxe Paint has never been able to print the brush down or stamp the brush down. There we go. Where you've got the toolbar, so... Windy and cold in West Bay, yeah, I bet it was. 3 tables left, that's amazing. Invasion of the Giants, yeah. Well, it gives you an idea of the powerful stencils though, and what I said about the palette management and making sure that the characters in my case, the last 16 colours of the palette registers, the first 16 are the background colours and so forth, allows you to use stencils in that way. You know, that's really super helpful when it comes to animations. So, you know, if you use the same black from your first 16 colours that you may have used in your character's 16 colours, what will happen is that when you come to use stencils, you will get sort of some weird effects. So yeah. You love the white shirt. Oh, thanks, Pish, but it's very... Oh, thanks, Dave. Pixel Cam, nice village, yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm repeating what you've already said, so... Oh, dear. It's the thing with the streaming is that there's just so much going on all at once, and you're demonstrating things, trying to explain things, trying to obviously make sure that I'm picking up things. I forget what I've read and what I haven't. I don't have degenerative diseases or anything like that, so I don't think. Maybe I do. So, I need a zippy stencil. I definitely do. So, oh, thanks, Josh. That's really cool. So, Aaron 42 says the texture of the trees looks really good. Amazing what you can do with just a few colours. It really is. And then the key with trees is not to put too many colours into them with pixel art in some cases. Usually you can do pretty good stuff with just 2 colours, which is what I've done there. But where you have the overlap, the key is to use the shadow colour to build in the overlap when you're just using only 2 colours, because that will really help you just sort of build up that layering. Particularly you can see that on, I'll scroll over that way a bit, or is it? Particularly on the left hand side you can see a lot of shadows, and actually I do need to do a bit of clean up there, but it's kind of, you kind of get the idea there. So the background is just a very rough composite at the moment, so, but yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, the key with pixel art is to keep it simple and not go too mad on detail when you're first starting out, I think, because often some of the most effective pixel art, I think, is simple pixel art. As soon as you start trying to do too much with too many colours, I don't know, it loses some of the clarity, I find. But that's not to say there isn't some stunning pixel art out there that uses 256 colours extremely effectively. I do share the odd little bit from other amazing artists that I can only ever hope to be like myself one day, but who use, you know, a lot of colours in their work. You know, maybe only 64 colours, but they still look incredible. But I suppose my taste in pixel art is looking back at some of the older 16-bit days, like the cutscenes that you got in like Chrono Trigger, and I was rewatching GameSack's Sega CD or Mega CD video earlier on today, and when they featured Snatcher, and I look at that pixel art and that's more to my taste. Thanks, Phil, though, that's very kind. So yeah, thanks, Chris. Oh, thanks, Santian. You're too kind, all of you. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. It's how I hoped it would. So the idea is that what we'll do is that when this is all put together, the clouds will be one layer, which will scroll, and then the mountains will be another layer, and then the forest behind will be another layer, and basically there'll be parallax, and then as the screen slides over, Shinji will be there, and then he's gonna look up to his, I think probably to what would be his, let me get this right, his left, but the right hand side of the screen anyway, and there'll be this disturbance, shall we say, and I'm going to animate it basically, is what I'm saying. So yeah, it's so yes, it's looking good, but you can see what I mean about if I anti-alias the outside of Shinji here. I'm just going to roughly do that here. So say I put down these light grey pixels to anti-alias. They look fine on that beige, but as soon as you bring them in against this mountain, it's going to look really, wrong. So that's why it's important not to anti-alias here. So that's why I was doing it. There is a method behind my madness. Yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? So, and then the other thing is, which you may have seen, let's just flip through, because I did say that I was going to stop a little bit, well, before now. It's now almost 22, so let's go to DH2 graphics. I just want to show you how this has all been building up over time, this particular part of this. So let's go to outline probably. Let's just see what these are. I can't remember what all these files are, but let's show them nonetheless. Okay, so there's my outline of Shinji, which means that I must have drawn him previously because I didn't actually use that version of it, so I've basically redrawn him again. Oh well, not to worry. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. So this is the rough composite of the background, and what you'll notice is actually telegraph poles, so that's going to be the next layer that I'm going to draw in, is these telegraph poles. It's just like a trope of anime and manga, isn't it? It's just, I think, the Japanese psychology of modernity against naturalism, which is a strong theme in things like Akira and so forth, this anxiety about modernity and so forth, but it's quite often a trope, isn't it, in anime, of these telegraph poles and all these wires and street lights and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm going to draw that in. Then what do we have after that? Oh, okay, so you can roughly see that I drew this outline to, roughly suggest how it was going to look, which, if I can keep it all open at once, there you go. You can see that actually from the outline there, let's just click on here. So you can see from, oh, close the outline, I guess that's it. So you can see from that original sketched outline, we're actually pretty close to it. And the reason why I drew like the background stuff in cyan and the character in blue is because, again, I could use stencils to snip those parts out separately. So yeah. Yeah, so that's coming on quite nicely. And then where did we go from there? So let's just go back to Dopus. I started working on the background separately, so let's just have a look at these files here. This should be the mountains, I believe. Yeah, so you can see I started off the mountains there with just some basic shading. I've still got part of the foreground there, but again, I've just probably kept that there for scale, but I am drawing over it so you can see some of the forest on the mountains and so forth is actually overlapping those poles. And then gradually I did draw in a little bit of detail on those poles there just to see what it would look like. I couldn't wait. And you can see how I'm just building up the mountains there. And then eventually I've got like the finished article there. And then what else have we got here? Obviously all the Shinji stuff, all the stuff to do the brushes. the trees and stuff. So I don't know what these are. Let's have a little look. Oh, okay, so that's me. I've cleaned it all up now, and you can see the full sort of mountains and stuff there. So we're using 1, 2, 3, 4 colours, I think, for the mountains. Oh no, I've just drawn in some of the tree shadows there. Usually, when you do shadows, you usually use lighter colours in the background, to, you know, as for the distance. But in this case, it works better with a more deeper, darker colour against the mountains. So yeah, so that's all the workings of it. So yeah, so that's, I'm really pleased with that. It's coming together how I hoped it would. So let's just come back here. Flying trees, yeah, I love my flying trees. So yeah. So I think that's probably what we're gonna do for the stream, guys. I don't think that I can draw any more at this stage. I feel like I need a little bit of a rest. And I have something to eat actually, so I did eat before coming on the stream. But I've had a real lot of fun this afternoon, or this evening, working on this with you all here. So thanks for joining me again. Do any of you have any questions about what I've done today, or pixel art in general, anything like that? So like I say, don't forget, Chrono Trigger Tuesday starts 9 o'clock British Summer Time this Tuesday, as the name suggests. 8 PM UTC. If you want to join me for a bit of JRPG action, we're going to be starting from the very beginning and playing a couple of hours every Tuesday for, well, probably the rest of the year actually. It takes about 30 to 40 hours to complete Chrono Trigger, particularly if you do the I've forgotten the bloody name of it, you know, like the blooming you know, the black thingamajig, the thing in the sky. I don't want to give it away, but anyway, there's with I've forgotten the name of it, but you know what I mean if you've ever played Chrono Trigger. It's an optional dungeon essentially, but yeah, no, it's been good. I'm glad it's kept you company, Chris. So what are you doing in the garage? Lovely working up piece, thank you. So thank you, DB. It has been a lot of fun to share this with you, and thank you, Pishbot. Let's really have a magic Sunday as well. It's yeah, I'll probably see some of you guys in the Amiga Bill stream. If you don't know Amiga Bill, go onto Twitter, type in the Guru Meditate, I think he is, or just use Google. He'll be streaming on Twitch in about 15 minutes, I believe. But yeah, oh, thank you, Doug. So yeah, I'm glad it's information. I know I get drawn into what I'm doing sometimes, but yeah, just one little flash up again of what we've been doing. Yeah, I really feel like this is coming together nicely now. So it's gonna probably take me a few months to finish what I want to do in total with it, which is basically a slight reimagining of the opening scene on Neon Genesis Evangelion. But yeah, thanks Era42. So yeah, maybe see some of you in the Amiga Build stream, maybe see some of you in some of the other streamers that are going on today. I might see some of you on Tuesday evening, so look out for that. I will keep you informed about the gaming stream this week, because as I say, it's Easter weekend next weekend here in the UK. It's bank holiday weekend, so public holiday, so I might do a Thursday evening stream for general gaming. I don't think there'll be a Pixar stream next weekend, because you get drawn in, yeah, you saw that one there. I can't help myself. But I'll keep you informed. There may be a little stream with me and Tim, that's the future is 8-bit in the chat there, next Sassy, because I'm going down to with Shay Tim to have a bit of fun. Yeah. Thanks, Phil. It's very kind. So you've been messing with Amiga Vision. Awesome. Yeah, I've been encouraged to play with some Amiga Vision after Doug's videos. It's Amiga Retrocast in the chat. So thanks, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And I guess all there is for me to say is see you in a minute. I probably will, because you'll be in Amiga Builder stream, won't you? So bye.